A place so terrifying that even the United States government spent millions investigating it. A ranch where glowing orbs stalk the night, creatures defy the laws of physics, and something unseen watches from the shadows. Those who step foot here report disturbing visions, strange illnesses, and encounters that follow them home. What is really happening at Skinwalker Ranch? And why does it remain one of the most classified mysteries in modern history? Stay until the end, because what we're about to reveal will make you question everything you thought you knew about the paranormal. Skinwalker Ranch is more than just a hotspot for paranormal activity. It's a place deeply rooted in ancient legend and fear. The land itself is said to be cursed, a curse that traces back to the Navajo people. According to legend, the Ute tribe and the Navajo were once locked in a bitter conflict. It is believed that during this time, Navajo shamans placed a powerful curse upon the land, calling upon the terrifying beings known as skinwalkers. These creatures, as described in Native American folklore, were shape-shifting entities capable of assuming animal forms, moving at unnatural speeds, and controlling the minds of their victims. For generations, the Ute people have avoided the area, believing it to be a place of dark energy, one where the skinwalkers still roam. As settlers arrived in the 19th century, reports of strange occurrences began to emerge. Homesteaders spoke of seeing eerie lights in the sky, encountering bizarre creatures, and hearing disembodied voices echoing across the land. Some claimed to witness wolves that seemed impervious to gunfire, while others spoke of strange, human-like figures moving unnaturally fast across the landscape. These stories were dismissed as frontier folklore until the 1990s, when the Sherman family moved in. Terry and Gwen Sherman purchased the 500-acre ranch in 1994, hoping for a quiet life of cattle ranching. But from the moment they arrived, things took a terrifying turn. The family witnessed orbs of light floating across their fields, saw mysterious figures lurking in the distance, and, most disturbingly, experienced cattle mutilations that defied logical explanation. Their animals were found dead with precise surgical incisions, organs removed with no trace of blood. On one occasion, a massive wolf approached the Shermans and attacked a calf. Despite being shot multiple times at close range, the animal barely reacted before walking off into the woods, leaving behind no tracks. The events at Skinwalker Ranch became too much for the Sherman family. After just 2 years, they fled, convinced that something unexplainable and deeply dangerous was at work. But their departure didn't end the mystery. In fact, it was only the beginning. After the Sherman family abandoned Skinwalker Ranch, new investigations into its strange phenomena began, and the reports only became more disturbing. The strange creatures they had witnessed weren't isolated incidents. Workers, visitors, and researchers who later stepped foot on the ranch all reported experiencing something unexplainable. The glowing orbs that had once terrified the Shermans continued to appear, moving intelligently across the landscape as if under conscious control. Some were small and blue, darting through the air like living entities. Others were large, pulsating with energy, and often seemed to stalk individuals on the property. Those who got too close described an overwhelming sense of dread. Some even claimed that looking into these orbs filled them with a deep, almost primal fear, as if something beyond human comprehension was watching back. Then, there were the creatures. Gigantic, wolf-like animals were seen again, just as they had been during the Sherman era. Witnesses described them as being far larger than any known wolf species, with piercing red eyes that reflected an eerie glow. Some reports even suggested that these creatures could vanish before their eyes, disappearing into thin air without leaving footprints or any trace of their existence. Other accounts mentioned shadowy humanoid figures lurking in the distance, watching from the tree line. Figures that seemed to move impossibly fast, vanishing in an instant when approached. But perhaps the most unsettling occurrences involved the continued cattle mutilations. Even after the Shermans left, animals on the ranch were still being found dead under circumstances that defied logic. Their bodies were discovered with precise laser-like incisions, completely drained of blood, yet there were no signs of struggle, footprints, or predators in the area. The cuts were so clean that they resembled surgical procedures performed with advanced medical equipment. Technology far beyond what should be possible in a remote Utah ranch. Beyond the physical encounters, the ranch itself seemed to pulse with an unnatural energy. Visitors reported their electronic devices malfunctioning, cameras and batteries draining without explanation, and even their own bodies reacting to an unseen force. Some felt dizzy and disoriented, as if they had stepped into a different reality. Others experienced terrifying physical effects, such as nausea, migraines, or even unexplained burns on their skin after spending time on the property. One researcher, who had spent weeks on the ranch, claimed to have been followed home by something he couldn't explain. In the days after leaving, he and his family began to experience strange activity in their own house. Shadowy figures in the corners of their vision, doors opening on their own, and an overwhelming sense of being watched. This led to a disturbing conclusion: whatever was haunting Skinwalker Ranch wasn't confined to the land itself. It could follow you. As reports of these terrifying encounters continued to grow, it became clear that Skinwalker Ranch wasn't just a place of strange occurrences. It was a phenomenon that couldn't be ignored. That's when the government stepped in, and what they found was beyond anything they had expected. As stories of Skinwalker Ranch gained traction, they caught the attention of billionaire aerospace entrepreneur Robert Bigelow. Fascinated by the unknown, Bigelow had already invested heavily in paranormal research, and in 1996, he purchased the ranch with one goal in mind: to scientifically investigate its mysteries. Under Bigelow's ownership, the ranch became a high-security research site. He assembled a team of scientists, engineers, and former military personnel, forming the National Institute for Discovery Science, or NIDS. Their mission? To document and understand the bizarre phenomena occurring on the property. Surveillance cameras were installed, motion sensors were placed around the land, and round-the-clock monitoring began. What they recorded was deeply unsettling. Cameras would suddenly go offline without explanation, only to return with missing footage. Motion detectors would be triggered in areas where nothing was visible. Scientists witnessed objects moving on their own, strange voices over radio frequencies, and encounters with the same glowing orbs and shadowy entities that had plagued previous owners. Despite the advanced technology at their disposal, the team was often left with more questions than answers. But the most shocking twist came years later, when the US government got involved. In the early 2000s, the Pentagon launched a highly classified program known as the Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program, or AATIP, which later evolved into the Advanced Aerospace Weapons Systems Application Program, or AAWSAP. And guess where they focused much of their research? Skinwalker Ranch. Government officials poured millions into investigating the site, with reports suggesting that they weren't just studying UFOs, but something even stranger. Official documents revealed that military contractors stationed at the ranch experienced terrifying encounters, from inexplicable aircraft sightings to physical effects similar to radiation exposure. Some even suggested that whatever was on the ranch had intelligence, that it could react to their presence, predict their movements, and even manipulate technology to evade detection. This raised a chilling question. What exactly was the government trying to uncover? Were they searching for proof of extraterrestrial life, examining interdimensional anomalies? Or were they investigating something even darker, something they weren't willing to share with the public? The secrecy surrounding the project only deepened the mystery, and when the government's involvement suddenly ended, leaving many of their findings classified, it led to even more speculation. But the story of Skinwalker Ranch was far from over. In fact, it was about to take another shocking turn. As more information surfaced, the findings from Skinwalker Ranch only grew more unsettling. Declassified reports described frequent sightings of unidentified aerial phenomena, or UAPs. Crafts that could accelerate at impossible speeds, change direction instantly, and even vanish without a trace. But what truly shocked investigators was that these objects often appeared in direct response to human activity on the ranch, as if they were observing, perhaps even interacting with those who studied them. But UFOs weren't the only anomaly. Researchers began documenting glowing circular rifts in the sky, described as portals that would briefly open and then disappear. Some witnesses claimed they saw creatures step out of these rifts, only to vanish moments later. Even more bizarre, there were cases where time itself seemed to behave strangely. Individuals would lose hours without memory of what had happened, or find that time had moved unnaturally fast or slow in certain areas of the ranch. The physical effects on those who spent time at Skinwalker Ranch were just as disturbing. Investigators reported intense nausea, sudden headaches, and even radiation-like burns after witnessing strange events. Some experienced lasting psychological effects, plagued by paranoia, sleep disturbances, and vivid nightmares long after leaving the ranch. More terrifyingly, a few claimed that the phenomena followed them home. Shadowy figures appearing in their homes, objects moving on their own, and a constant, oppressive feeling of being watched. All of this led to a chilling realization. Skinwalker Ranch wasn't just a single haunted location. It might be part of something much bigger. Some researchers believed it was a hotspot of interdimensional activity, a place where the fabric of reality itself was thinner. Others speculated that the ranch sat on a naturally occurring electromagnetic anomaly, creating conditions that attracted otherworldly entities, or even allowed them to enter our world. But perhaps the most unsettling theory was that Skinwalker Ranch was a testing ground for something beyond human comprehension. Were these phenomena the result of classified experiments, alien intelligence, or something even more sinister? The truth remains elusive, but one thing is certain. Whatever is happening at Skinwalker Ranch is far from over. With so many unexplained events, theories about what's really happening at Skinwalker Ranch range from the scientific to the supernatural. One theory suggests that the ranch is the site of classified government experiments, possibly testing advanced technology, psychological warfare, or even manipulating space-time itself. Some point to the sudden withdrawal of government funding as proof that they found something too dangerous or uncontrollable to continue studying. Could the strange encounters be the side effects of experiments gone wrong? Another theory focuses on interdimensional portals. Researchers believe that Skinwalker Ranch sits on a rift in space-time, allowing creatures, or even entire civilizations, from another dimension to briefly cross into our reality. Witness reports of strange entities, impossible movements, and time distortions seem to support this idea. Others believe the ranch is an extraterrestrial base, hidden in plain sight. UFO activity in the area is undeniable, with countless sightings over decades. The precise, bloodless cattle mutilations resemble those seen in other alleged alien encounter sites, leading some to suspect that non-human entities use the ranch as a testing ground or worse. Then there's the oldest theory of all. The land is cursed. The Navajo legend of the Skinwalker, a shape-shifting entity tied to ancient rituals and dark magic, is deeply rooted in the region. The strange occurrences, from shadowy figures to unnatural creatures, align with the terrifying descriptions of these beings. If this theory is true, then Skinwalker Ranch isn't just haunted, it's home to something far older and more dangerous than we can comprehend. Despite decades of research, Skinwalker Ranch remains one of the most active paranormal hotspots in the world. Even today, investigators, scientists, and researchers continue to document strange lights, bizarre creatures, and unexplained physical effects. The mystery isn't fading, it's only growing deeper. With so many strange encounters, government secrets, and terrifying possibilities, one question remains. What do you think is really happening at Skinwalker Ranch? Is it a hub of extraterrestrial activity, a gateway to another dimension, or something even more sinister? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Don't like this video, and definitely don't subscribe. You wouldn't want weekly doses of mind-blowing mysteries, creepy legends, and unexplained events, would you? Yeah, I didn't think so. And whatever you do, don't click on the video above, unless you want to uncover the secrets they don't want you to know.